Let's dive right into this explainer and unpack a massive looming crisis that's threatening not just India's macroeconomy, but your actual everyday life. You see, the southwest monsoon is often called the absolute backbone of India's culture and its economy. But right now, it's facing a severe, rapidly developing threat. Meteorologists and global climate agencies are seriously sounding the alarm. So today, we're going to dig into the hard data to understand exactly what's happening, why it matters so much, and what we all need to do about it.
So, the pressing question on absolutely everyone's mind right now is, will India actually face a drought this year? Well, to answer that without just guessing, we have to follow the science. And I'll be straight with you right up front. The concerns you're hearing out there, they're fully justified by the numbers we're about to look at.
Here's our roadmap for understanding this whole thing. We'll start with the Super El Niño threat, move on to erratic weather patterns, then track the economic domino effect, zoom in on the impact on daily life, and finally wrap up with combating the crisis. Basically, we're going from the global climate scale all the way down to what you can do in your own home.
All right, Section 1, the Super El Niño threat. Let's head out to the equatorial Pacific Ocean and check out the hard science behind these severe weather warnings.
Okay, look at this massive number. The India Meteorological Department calculates an 84% probability of below normal rainfall this season. 84%. That is an overwhelming likelihood. We're not talking about a mere possibility here. We are staring down a highly probable disruption to the seasonal rains that the entire country depends on. The main culprit for all this is something called a Super El Niño. Think of it like the ocean running a fever. Sea surface temperatures in the equatorial Pacific are rising significantly above normal. We're talking by more than 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. And historically, whenever El Niño gains this kind of strength, it literally suppresses India's monsoon by blocking those essential rain clouds. And the metrics are already reflecting this blockade. The IMD revised its forecast, projecting our long period average, or LPA, at exactly 90%. Why does that matter? Because any rainfall below that 90% mark is meteorologically classified as a deficient monsoon. Combine that with a sluggish start, hitting the Kerala coast a few days later than its usual June 1st date, and our seasonal average is hovering dangerously close to being officially deficient.
Which brings us to Section 2, erratic weather patterns. Let's see how this global shift translates into some really uneven and frankly surprising weather changes across the country. Because, you see, this crisis isn't hitting everyone equally. India's critical agricultural breadbasket, specifically the central, western, and south peninsular zones, expect a sharp rainfall deficit. We're talking less than 94% of normal. But meanwhile, the northeastern region is expected to get near normal rainfall. So you have this massive geographical imbalance, where crucial farming regions dry up, while the northeast stays pretty much normal. And here is where it gets kinda crazy. We're entering what's called a climate paradox. Because of the erratic shifts driven by climate change, even with an overall weak monsoon, localized areas might still face unpredictable extreme weather, like cloudbursts or flash floods, right smack in the middle of a widespread drought season. The seasonal behavior is just becoming incredibly unpredictable. Adding insult to injury with the lack of rain, we have to talk about the severe heat. Due to the weak progression of the monsoon, states like Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Odisha, and Gujarat are going to suffer prolonged, intense heat waves. And it's not just the days that'll be hot. Nighttime temperatures are expected to stay uncomfortably warm, completely denying people any real relief from the baking sun. Moving on to Section 3, the economic domino effect. Let's connect the dots from the weather straight to the economy, because a 1.5-degree ocean temperature rise thousands of miles away is absolutely going to impact your wallet.
Check this out. More than half of all Indian agriculture relies entirely on the monsoon rains, over 50%. So a disrupted monsoon isn't just a weather issue, it's a foundational economic threat. It directly hits both the national treasury and your dinner plate.
And the economic dominoes fall in a very precise, destructive order. First, a drop in output. Disrupted sowing means crop yields for paddy, pulses, oilseeds, and sugarcane take a huge hit. Second, rising inflation. That sharp shortage drives up the prices of essential food commodities, which directly strains your monthly household budget. And third, a massive slump in rural demand. When farmers' incomes drop, rural purchasing power gets wiped out, meaning the sales of tractors, two-wheelers, and fast-moving consumer goods drop off a cliff.
Let's zoom in even closer with Section 4, impact on daily life. let's look at how this crisis directly disrupts your home, your health, and your daily routine.
Whether you're in a big city or rural village, you're likely going to face three major disruptions. First up, severe water scarcity, as major reservoirs and dams deplete rapidly. Second, rolling power outages. The scorching heat drives up AC demand, but lower water levels mean reduced hydroelectric power, which makes load shedding inevitable. And third, serious health hazards. We are looking at a significantly heightened risk of dehydration and very dangerous heat strokes.
But it's not all doom and gloom. Section 5, Combating the Crisis. While we obviously can't alter nature, we absolutely can control our response.
We essentially have two distinct lines of defense here: the massive macro steps the government must take and the micro actions that you need to take at home. Both are entirely essential if we're going to survive this season with minimal damage.
On the government side, the action plan has to be aggressive. They need to proactively supply farmers with climate-resilient, low-water seeds like millets, maize, and coarse grains. Local admins must set up public cooling shelters and dedicated heat stroke wards in hospitals. Economically, they've got to secure buffer stocks of grains to curb hoarding and artificial inflation. And crucially, there has to be strict rationing of dam water, saving it almost exclusively for drinking and highly essential irrigation.
But hey, the responsibility isn't just on the government. On an individual level, you need an action plan too. This means doing a water audit at home and setting up rainwater harvesting if you can. For your own health, actively consume hydrating fluids. Think ROS, lemon water, and buttermilk. And seriously, avoid going outdoors during those peak heat hours between 12 p.m. and 4 p.m. And if you're a farmer, this is the time to shift to drip irrigation and short-duration crops that mature before the heat really takes over.
Ultimately, this monsoon deficit is a massive challenge, but it's also a stark warning. So I'll leave you with this one critical question. As these extremes become our new normal, are we truly ready to take our water resources seriously and permanently shift toward a climate-smart lifestyle?